Hello and welcome to this community tech video. It is all about different helpful technology tips that we as the district instructional technology staff hope can help you save some time and also keep some things organized. And we'll have one tip that will actually help you if you're graduating or leaving Clark, be able to take some of your goodness with you. I am Patrick Hausman, Supervisor of Instructional Technology, as well as an Instructional Technology Resource Teacher, or ITRT, mostly for Johnson Williams Middle School, but also for Boyce as well.
My name is John Novick. I am an ITRT as well. I spend most of my time at the high school, but also at Cooley as well.
I'm Susanna Griziak. I'm the media specialist at Boyce Elementary and also work as an instructional technology coach here. In this video, we are going to talk about how to organize your Google Drive and keep it that way. When you are starting to think about how to organize your drive, you're going to start big with one folder, maybe two, that encompass almost everything that you do. And you're going to end small with the individual files that you need. So you're going to think big as in the location where you are currently working or attending school, and then you'll break that into a year possibly or a job, and on down by subject on into individual files. So some of the folder types that you can use are the location where you work or attend school, the year that it is, the job that you do, the school or the grade you're in, down to the class title, and on down till we get to the file. Small messes equals small cleanups, something to remember. You should really organize your file as soon as you create it, which I'm going to show you how to do, and make a point to tidy up your Google Drive every week just to keep it organized. So now we are going to slide over to a drive that has been organized. So as you look at this right here, all you see is one folder. It says Boyce Elementary. When we click on that, we have 3 folders. So each time you open a folder, you should then see more folders until you get to just the files you're looking for. So this drive is going to encompass just things that are miscellaneous, social studies, and STEM. So if we click on STEM, it opens up no files yet, more folders that organize those files. So we now have files that are sorted into a coding folder, an engineering folder, and a storybook STEM folder. So if we open up that coding folder, now we have the files. And it seems like a lot of clicking just to get to the one file that you need, but it's a lot simpler than sorting through 200 to 300 files and scrolling or trying to do a search for the right keyword. The other bonus in this is that you can share an entire folder at one time. So if I had a co-teacher in social studies and I wanted them to have access to everything I had access to, I can share just that folder and it will then share everything that is in that folder. So now I'm going to show you how to organize a file upon creation. So we're going to create a new Google Doc, and it is going to be a social studies activity. We will say that it's all about Jamestown. And it's going to be a quiz. So now I've titled it, it's saved to my drive, but I don't want it just floating out in the drive universe. I want it to be in a very specific spot. Instead of clicking back to my drive, there's this little folder up here with an arrow in it that says move. From here, I can then click on through to the exact file that I want, to the exact folder that I want. Now, this is not Plymouth Rock, it's Jamestown. And I have a bunch of other Jamestown stuff in here, but I want to create a new folder just for the things that I have on Jamestown. And you can do that in here. You can click this little plus folder, title your folder, and click the arrow. So now that I have my Jamestown folder, I'm going to go in it. The folder is empty, but I want this quiz in here. So I'm going to hit move here. And now my Jamestown quiz has been moved from my drive to Jamestown, and it's all wonderfully organized. So I hope you take this and try to see how you can organize your own Google Drive. How to pin a website to your shelf. Your shelf is this black line down here at the bottom of your screen. And you can pin shortcuts to it to be able to get to websites faster and using a visual icon. This is really helpful for students who need the visual icons, such as younger students or those who have difficulty reading. So once you choose your website that you want to pin, you're going to come up to the 3 dots at the top right-hand corner of your screen. Scroll down to More Tools, and then click Create Shortcut. Now you have to find your shortcut before you can pin it. So we're going to come down to our menu circle, and then we're going to click within our search bar, and it will bring up all of your shortcuts that you have created. Find the shortcut you want, right-click it, and pin it to shelf. And now you have the icon that you need to access the website that you're going to use.
Welcome to this brief video on how to use Google Calendar and Google Keep to keep yourself organized and on top of all your virtual work. First, we'll start in Google Calendar. You can see I have my calendar displayed here. I currently have it as a week view, which I can change up here via this dropdown. But the big things I want to focus on today are turning on and off calendars, setting reminders, and making events. So very quickly, you'll notice here on the left-hand side, I have a heading that's My Calendars. I also have one that is Other Calendars. I can turn on and off what I see simply by checking boxes. I can help color code these so they stick out more by hitting that 3-dot menu and then choosing a color. I can create an event by clicking anywhere on the calendar. I can add different people to that if I'm going to study with someone or get help from someone. I can also come down and add a description, which is really helpful to help remember what that is. I can also insert links or add an attachment. Maybe there's a study guide or something that goes with that. I can add that into my calendar invite so it is right there. And if I want a few more options, I can actually click here where it says More Options. And one of the biggest things I'll point out on this one, because we covered everything else already, is this Add Notification button. I can either get a pop-up notification, it will make a noise for me most likely as well, or I can drop that down and change it to email. I can also have it in minutes, hours, days, or weeks. So if you know you have a big test coming up, maybe you want to put one a couple weeks out to remember to study, then a few days out, and then if you need to log on, if you're virtual, you might want to put a reminder a few minutes ahead so that it will either give you that email or that notification to let you know what's coming your way. I'll go ahead and discard this, but you would want to save it if you were creating that event. So you should be able to control what you see in this list by clicking on classes or turning off classes. Maybe you want to color code them, like I said, in that 3-dot menu, based on whether it's an A day or a B day, based on subject. You could also turn on your A day classes on an A day, turn them off on a B day, whatever helps you to stay organized and see what you need to see. And then remember those reminders or those notifications to help you be pinpointed and stay on track in logging in when you need to log in. Another tool that I want to just touch on real briefly is Google Keep. It's accessed via keep.google.com, or if you go to your app launcher, you should see Google Keep somewhere in that list as well. And this is a great tool to take quick notes and set up things like to-do lists. So if I click here where it says take note, you see I would be able to title it at the top, then I would be able to type my notes down below. If I put a dash in, I can actually make that a bulleted list. If I wanted it to be checkboxes like you see here in this to-do list, I would actually do that through this three-dot menu at the bottom and go ahead and click on Show Checkboxes. And now these are things that I can check off as I get them done. And I can even drag and drop and rearrange them. Or if I drop one on top of another, it'll actually go ahead and make that a subtopic or a sub-item to do underneath that list. You can color code these. So maybe you color coded your classes on the other one and you want to go ahead and color code these. You'll click on that artist palette and say it was blue on the other side. I could make this note blue too, so my eyes are continually reminded maybe its history is blue and I could have blue each place. I can add collaborators to my notes. I can set reminders if it is time specific or date specific. I can also add images. That's how this header came to be. That is just an image added to the note. And last but not least, I can actually add labels as well so that I can keep these organized by class or by project, whatever I need to help myself be organized. So that was a quick recap of some things you can check out in Calendar to organize things and stay on track. And then as a next level to help you remember and check things off, Google Keep can be a great organizational tool as well.
Today I'm going to introduce you to Google Takeout. It's a product from Google that allows you to back up or download all of your data that you have accumulated within Google. The important uses for this is especially important for seniors as they transition out of high school. Their Google accounts will close somewhere over the summer, and it's important that if they want to keep any of their work before they leave the high school, that they use this Google Takeout product to download all of their work. To access Google Takeout, like everything else in the world, it's just takeout.google.com. You can do this or just search for Google Takeout. The first step that it's going to ask you to do is to go through and look at all of your data. You can see here as I scroll through that it has quite a bit of data for each of the users. You may or may not have actually used all of this stuff in your time in the high school or the middle school or the elementary school, but these are all of the Google products. You have the ability right here to either select all or to deselect all. If you are just interested in downloading the entirety of your school career, I would just go ahead and leave it all corrected. You can always have all of the information, and it's probably better to have than to not have if you later down the line you do need access to it. Some of the important ones to highlight, though, you have your calendar. You have Chrome, which will include all of your bookmarks and any of your previous searches. So if you have a bunch of stuff bookmarked, things you use for research projects, things like that, all of those sites can be saved. Any sites that you built in classic sites, you can download them. It will save them. The new websites, anything you have built in the new Google site, will be included within your drive. Some of the files are going to come to you in formats that may not be easily accessible, such as if you download your entirety of History of a Classroom, it comes in a JavaScript file. You'll need additional software to be able to access that. But most of it, and most importantly, I would say, is your drive. You can see here that it's going to come to you in Microsoft products, so any documents you created will be downloaded as a docx. Any drawings will be converted to a JPEG file. Your forms will come in a zip that will include any of the information involved with it. Your presentations will be downloaded as a PowerPoint. Your spreadsheets will be downloaded as Excel files. You also, on any of these that have the three dots, have the ability to pick and choose. So here is all of the folders. I don't use very many folders, but this is the folders that I do have set up. So I can include all of the folders, or I can select folders a few at a time. So like if I have some that was just that were not necessarily things I would need ever again, you can uncheck them. But again, if you are downloading all of your data, it's better to have all of it and not need it than to need something and not be able to find it again. After you have gone through, I'll scroll down through here, you can see all of Google Keep. It's going to give you your stuff in an HTML format. Any videos are going to come in old cell phone 3GP, and any images will be in the original format uploaded. So if you did use Google Keep for either for notes or for organization, you could you'll get all that information as well. You can get all of your mail. You can get all of your contacts. That was back up here. All of your contacts. So any of the information that you have gathered while in school, all that's still going to be in here. When you are done selecting all of the information that you want, you will click here on Next Step. And here is, you're going to choose how you want it sent to you. You have the ability to pick from sending it to you via an email. If you are transferring stuff out of your Clark County account to a private account, this is the most likely method you will use. It is also the one that is here by default. You do have the ability to get it put into your drive, and you can take it to, if you know that your school is going to be using, like a secondary or a post-secondary school is going to be using Microsoft products, you have the ability to put it into OneDrive, and then you also have Dropbox and Box, which are other two free file storage. I'm going to leave email checked. Under frequency, you can have right now, if you're going to be using this at the end, I would recommend using the export once. That's just going to be everything that you have done. It's going to do one time and you're going to have it. If you are setting this up for something you want to be able to run for a few years going forward, if you're still in school, you can set it so that it runs every 2 months. So twice a year, you'll get an update. You'll get a zip file sent to you. I would really highly recommend you pick the zip file here, because that's something that can be found on any computer. And then under this one, you have the ability to pick how large you want your zip files to be. By default, it's set to 2 gigs. For most people, that'll be way more than you have in your Google Drive. I would recommend that you keep the 2 gigabyte limit checked, because it'll split it into multiple zip files for you then. And things like Chromebooks sometimes struggle with zip files that are larger than this. When you are done with this, all you need to do is hit the Create Export, and you then can create, it'll start running in the background. You will receive an email. Sometimes it takes a couple hours. Sometimes it takes the better part of a day. And it will send you a link and say, here are your zip files. One thing to mention before I finish here, this is going to take a live snapshot of your drive. So if you are still working on things, you are going to not get changes, like it's not going to automatically update, or you might have some files that become corrupted when you are modifying them while this is running in the background. So if this is something you are interested in doing, I would recommend doing it like overnight, so that you're not modifying files in the middle of the night. And that's my summary for Google Takeout. I hope this is helpful for those of you who may be interested in using this product.